This is a video that I've wanted to make for quite a while, and I want this to be a video that people take some time to, watch and listen through. I'm hoping it won't be too long. I feel it'll be something that will be value for those, of value for those who are starting off in the music industry, maybe even people who've been in there for quite a while. I feel maybe feeling a bit lost or disoriented by things. Maybe you're even quite successful and you might be suffering from imposter syndrome, or you just don't really know what's going on. Or maybe you know exactly why you're successful and you just wanted to sort of like help other people out, and maybe you could show them this video. That sounds kind of conceited of me, I suppose, when I say that. I want this video to be more of a way of people approaching the concept of the music industry being both like dead and alive at the same time. I, as a musician, have been listening to music since as long as I can remember, since the mid 90s when I was a kid traveling in the car with my parents on road trips and would listen to CDs in this car stereo system. I got into rock and metal around the mid 2000s with the emo movement. I got like into Linkin Park after getting into like Eminem and stuff. By some of the hip hop tracks I listened to as a tween. And from there, I got into Metallica and a lot of the heavier stuff like Slayer and then Meshuggah and then Opeth and kind of stuff. And then it went all different directions with like electronic music production throughout the 2010s and such like that, getting into a bit of sort of like trappish stuff later on there. But predominantly with and progressive metal as well, to be fair, bands like Periphery and stuff like that. But predominantly for me, the focus musically for me has been the harder stuff. And I know that for people doing the harder stuff, it can be incredibly difficult to find a niche within the industry to make a name for yourself, especially if you're not necessarily a pioneer of the genre, if you like trying to catch up. And I think that goes for people who are trying to make pop music as well as someone who does review music is like a side hustle to my main job, which is as a music teacher, multi-instrumentalist, music tutor. I've reviewed thousands of songs over the last few years, and I can say with certainty that the people that I most remember are those that are different. It is not just enough nowadays to be competent. It is not enough. You have to be different. You have to be someone that people will remember. And this is why you might have seen bands deliberately trying to branch out and try different things. You'll see musicians that are in one niche try and branch out into another, desperately trying to avoid becoming redundant because of the fact that they've gotten comfortable somewhere. They know they need to evolve. They never potentially really had an identity in the first place, and so they're trying to carve out a new one, but they didn't necessarily have to figure out how to do that in the first place. So while they might be successful, the rot sets in, and they inevitably start to lose what's going on there. But what I'm trying to communicate is that if you're a musician, the most important thing you can do is figure out how to be different. That is not if it's a hobby. If it's a hobby, personally, I mean, you don't need me to tell you this. It's like a passion thing, right? If you're passionate about music, enjoy it. There is nothing stopping you from being passionate about music. There is nothing stopping you from being able to enjoy and celebrate it. You have unlimited amounts of flexibility with the way that you approach it. There are limitless resources, both digital in terms of hardware now. A lot of the massive expensive mixing discs that they had throughout the 50s to the 2000s have now gone from like $150,000 studio discs into $29 per month subscription packs per channel strip. And it's just wild what you can do there. A lot of instruments such as drums have been put into sample packs and beat strips and stuff like that. You have a lot of variety there. There are even free versions of those. I know of free versions of plugins, and I know that you can get a plethora of different options there, which inevitably end up with this insurmountable array of options for you to make music with. It's practically tantamount to almost feeling illegal how easy it is to make music nowadays. With Reaper, the digital audio workstation I use, it is incredibly simple to get involved once you figure out the fundamentals, and Reaper is one of the hard ones. There are lots of other programs like Ableton and FL Studio and stuff like that, which are apparently easier to use. And Pro Tools is still going for some reason. And Logic as well is fantastic, as I understand. I used it when I started out. Pro Tools drove me nuts. I stopped using Pro Tools after a while. Logic I didn't use because I didn't have a Mac at that time. I switched on to Reaper eventually after messing around with Ableton a bit, messing around with Fruit Loops and FL Studio and stuff. And that Reaper was what I stuck with. But if you enjoy music, there are unlimited options for you to be able to do so. And I am very happy for you because you are in the sweet spot now where I wish you that I think you'll have a really good time. For those wanting to form a career, I don't think it's possible to do so unless you're so good at being someone else that it's practically, like it's invariable. You cannot tell, or you have to be someone that people can remember, whether you're a band or whether you are like an individual. You have to. You have to, because there are so many people within the music industry now that if you try and be, someone else, if you go down another pathway, you need to do that, but then bridge it or like switch it up enough that you can be distinct and easily identifiable to new fans, whilst also not alienating your existing fans. Because sure, you can do a style of music well, but the issue is that if you do a style of music well, but it's not enough to sort of like differentiate, you're one of the people that do that. You're one of the bands that do that. And sure, you'll probably be more likely to get gigs and stuff like that if you have a place that you're in where there is that level of activity with the nightlife, where there are bars and venues and stuff like that allow yourself to do so. But for me personally, I think that the most important thing as a musician, as a band, if you want a career, is to be different. It's not enough just to be really talented, really capable as a musician. It's not enough to be able to understand music theory and composition. People can practically completely fake capability with their instruments. You can beat Doctor beat Doctor. It shows my familiarity with the extra software because I don't really use it. You can like you can fix drum beats, you can auto-tune vocals. Again, I'm aware that auto-tune isn't all bad. Don't get me wrong, that's not what I'm saying here. It's just that auto-tune can be used as like a stylistic thing to make music sound like really, like a lot of the hip hop and rap stuff is kind of dope as well. I mean, Cher as well. There are lots of musicians who daft, like vocoders and auto-tunes. This is dope, don't get me wrong. But it's like people use it as a way to make themselves seem like a better singer than they are, and that to me is what I'm getting at here. You can do a lot to make your performance sound better than it actually is, and it even comes down to a studio level where like you can have like a cheap preamp and add stuff to it through iZotope to make it sound totally clean. You can buy a microphone from Slate Digital that's like meant to emulate $6,000 to $7,000 microphones, and you can sing into that and it can sound professional. It can almost sound like the actual microphone itself. It's incredibly accessible. But the thing that I think about is like I also have a degree in strategy and entrepreneurship as well as management. I run a company. I have done so for 10 years. And while my stuff on YouTube might not all be going as well as I'd like it to, for reasons that I'm completely aware of and at peace with, I understand that I don't do as much with this YouTube stuff as I need to in order to grow it. And I want to do more of that, which is why I'm doing the videos like this. I'm hoping they'll be helpful to people because I've got the experience now, having done this for a while, to be able to speak on it. But I think that I'm just having to think about it. Like, there's a lot to say, but you want to sort of pick your words clearly or carefully. It's like you want to sort of think about your music as a business, and it's difficult because with most companies, with most startups, you're trying to solve a problem, but with music, you're not really fixing a problem, are you? People have access to music. What little micro niche are you trying to get involved in that will allow you to be able to solve that need there? What thirst are you quenching? You could be you could be someone who's quite attractive and nice to look at. You could have an exceptionally wonderful talent that is superb, like far beyond anyone else that is available. That will get you attention. And if you can keep that consistent, if you can make sure that you're consistent with your output, it was continuing to evolve in a way that doesn't make it all sound the same, and it's not like a one-trick pony, you have a career, for sure. I mean that genuinely. Like, I think that even though it sounds incredibly superficial, if you are attractive, if you are talented, if you are both, you've got a hell of a shot. But I think that also goes for people who can craft really wonderful marketing campaigns and promotional things, people that use aliases, people that use animation, and like even like the VTubers and stuff with their models and stuff like that is phenomenal what they can do now. They create entirely different people that's believable. It's an illusion that is created, just like all marketing, where you're giving something to someone that they want. And the aim is, if nothing else, to connect. And music is basically you making something that is meaningful to you, and you hope like hell that it's meaningful to someone else. And I think that a lot of people, when they write music, they're looking at it from their personal perspective, but they're not necessarily looking at it from like a business one. And the problem, of course, is that when you look at music from a business perspective, you are going to kind of fuck things up because you're going, okay, I have to try and make this so that it's likable. And people can often see that issue. You look at like industry shows, like artists who are put into the place, try to pretend to be the indie artists but they're actually like put in there by industry plants and stuff. Like they're industry plants, you know what I mean? And people sniff it out, and they're like, "You're not real. You know, you're not actually like a real musician. You're like a phony, etc." Like you haven't actually gone through that. You know, like it's like nepotism in the music industry. Artists, like their children, getting into positions where they're trying to like put stuff forward, like celebrities and stuff like that. It's wild, man. The music industry is kind of fucked at the moment, but I think it's possible to make a career for music if you know how to approach it. And no, it's not selling a course on how to do something. It's none of that stuff. I think practically it comes down to looking at what you're doing in music, sitting down for a day, have a beer, have a coffee, drink something, just take an entire day if you're a musician, get a pad and a pen, and figure out what you're doing. You know, like, who are you as a musician? Who are you and what are you doing? What is your direction? What is your modus operandi? Like, what is the reason for you putting the stuff out there? Why does it need to be a money thing? Why is it that you want fame and success? Why is it that you want to do something bigger than simply be content with what you're putting out? Because I would also argue that I think that money is what ruins music. I think that it has the capacity to launch careers and make people incredibly wealthy. And to be fair, there are musicians where that success has allowed them to make more music, and it has allowed them to do incredible things and make a lot of people very happy. I am not anti-capitalist. I don't have an issue with people making money from music. It's just that I think that a lot of people, they find something they enjoy, and then they're like, yeah, but I can get money from it. And it's like, I think honestly, like half of the musicians that are out there, I would venture that a certain percentage never wanted to get into it for the money at the start. They found success because they either worked their asses off and just did gigs and wrote great music, or you know what, maybe they were savvy business people, but they towed the line rather like neatly between trying to make stuff that's like, marketable and it being sincere. And I think that if anything from this video, I'd like people to take away that, you know, as a music reviewer, as someone who has watched hundreds of students develop as musicians, as someone who has seen people that I've reviewed music for grow and release albums and find a lot of success, like bands like Vices Inc. and stuff like that. I adore that people are finding success through not only making great music, but also getting feedback from other people. This is not a shill for what I do. It's just simply that I like that musicians are finding their own niche, their own step. I'm not saying that the bands that I like are necessarily trying to be unique. It's just that they are themselves. They have their own identity. They know who they are, and they are creating music that is meaningful to them. And I appreciate that. I pray that every single musician who is trying to form a career right now is trying to find a way to make themselves heard in a way that is both respectful to their fan base and the people around them, and is also mindful of the fact that even if they aren't spending money on stuff, the time investment is equally important because time is short. You never know when you're going to run out of time. 10 years will pass you by. And again, this is not me looking at my situation when I say that. I look at it from the person who, I mean, if I'm honest, I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars in music over the years, like through like the teaching stuff I do, through like reviews and stuff like that. I'm not particularly worried about like feeling like inadequate in that regard. I know full well when I started writing music that I wasn't necessarily going to be the personality type in order to get a big following. I understand I'm fairly kind of like somber, and I don't usually try and over-articulate. I don't like to fake expressions or feelings for stuff. I don't like to react to stuff, which is why for a long time I had issues with my videos being reaction videos, when in actuality the most beautiful thing is when a song can elicit a reaction, because then it's genuine, right? But it's just a situation where I think that if you want to be a musician and you want to be successful, you just have to be different. You have to be different. And I hope that I'm sure there's 1,000 other videos on YouTube that are saying the exact same thing, but if you're not different, you're fucked. You're not going to get anywhere. You can try and be someone else, but arguably, if you try to be exactly who they are, then you're screwed. It's about trying to figure out what inspires you, what influences you, and then moving on from that and trying to find something better. And that's you. So that when someone listens to a song, because I mean, I think that's the most important takeaway. When you write a song, how do people know it's you? Because a lot of the time when people listen to music, they might know who you are. So how do they remember you? How do they remember you if they can't see you? Because a lot of people focus on image, but in actuality, I would just argue that equally important is the actual audio, the thing that brings people in, because people age, you know. People aren't always the image they try to sort of show themselves to be on social media and stuff like that. They can't always keep that up. So if you have great music, it won't necessarily matter. In the worst case scenario, if you turn out to be an actual monster, people will try and separate the art from the person. Yeah, I just wanted to get that off my chest. Hopefully you guys have a fantastic day, a fantastic evening, and if you are a musician, hopefully this has helped. Please, best of luck on your journey. I mean that sincerely. It's not an easy journey being a musician in 2024, but I hope that you can find some peace. And I'm fine. This has been something that I've wanted to talk about for a while. I think there's a lot of fear and furor and panic and paranoia about the way things are, especially with labels focusing on AI and stuff like that. And it's completely justified. There have been rapid developments in AI music, some of which I've had the privilege to personally check out and review myself. It is coming along. Some of it is very convincing, but that's even more of a reason to embrace yourself, to not be a robot, and to be the best that you can be. Peace. Spider hands out.